texting women, do this or you'll mess it up. Hello, I'm J. El Camino. Why El Camino? Because it's the only Spanish I know. Now, texting women is one of the biggest areas where men completely sabotage themselves without even realizing it. They overthink, they overdo, they try too hard, and in the process, they turn to something that should be very simple into something that works against them. And in reality, texting is not where attraction is built. It's simply a bridge. It's a waypoint. And the goal of texting is simply to establish a little bit of rapport, confirm that there's some level of interest, and then move things towards actually meeting up in real life. But the rapport and interest building should only be enough so that she'll say yes to meeting up. Meeting up is where you get to establish the rapport and move things along. Now, let's say you're long distance, then that would just mean doing a FaceTime or a call. But the point is, texting is not the main event, it's just a setup. So one of the biggest mistakes guys make right away is they text too much. As a general rule, you should not be texting more than she is. Doesn't mean you're playing games, but if you find yourself constantly sending more, initiating more, pushing more, you're already out of balance, you're out of sync. And when you're out of balance, it creates a dynamic where you're chasing and she's pulling back. That's just not where you want to be. You want things to feel natural, mutual, and easy, not forced. It's actually worth doing a quick check or audit of your texts. Just count them up, how many she's sending versus you, how many long, how many short. You don't have to go crazy with it, but just kind of get a general idea or feel for it. Are you sending multiple long texts to her single sentence replies? Who's texting more? Now, if it's you, pull back a little bit. Otherwise, you're steering the boat onto the rocks, and you don't want to do that. Another thing that trips guys up immediately is something really basic, and that's just like on the first meetup, you want to make sure that she saves your number on her phone, or at least recognizes who it is. So as soon as you get her number, whether it's in person or say through social media, through Facebook, you immediately want to text her with a reminder of who you are. That way, when she sees your text later on, she'll have you in mind and she'll be able to associate the number and name with some kind of interaction that's hopefully positive. This matters more than you think, because if she can't figure it out, she'll just potentially ghost or block you and can't be bothered to move on, and they just lost a great opportunity. So when you meet a girl, you exchange numbers, you text her right away or within a few minutes or an hour at the most, and just basically keep it simple, like, hey Karen, this is Jojo. We met at the bar last night. We talked about my run-in with an escaped wild zebra. That's it. Don't overcomplicate it. Less is more. You just want to anchor yourself in her memory so you're not starting from zero. Now, from here, you have to understand that texting should be short. Women can get away with longer, gushy messages. Men should not. Your text should be 1 or 2 sentences at most. One concept or idea, and that's it. Maybe 2 at the most. The longer your messages get, the more effort it takes for her to read it and respond, and the more likely it is for the conversation to stall out. Remember, dating, texting, interaction, flirting, banter should be light and fun. So by definition, light means not too much of something. So that's why your sentences should be very light and breezy. So that's really important. So also texting really is the lowest form of communication. You can't see body language. You can't really see intent. The next best is phone, FaceTime, and then obviously in person would be very best. So a lot of texts can be taken quite literally. So you have to be careful you don't say too much and trigger her. Also, you do have to pay attention to the tone and direction of the conversation, especially early on. If things are going well and there's some back and forth and she's engaged, that's your clue. You can start moving forward and making plans. You have to be the one to do that. You have to be the one to initiate, always, always, always. And your goal with that first call is moving towards the date, unless it's just not going anywhere and you can't recover from it. But let's say the conversation is flat, it's a bit stagnant, her responses are low effort, is she shy, she's not interested. That is not the time to escalate and ask her out. They try and force, some guys will mess it up here, they try and force progression when the energy just isn't there. Instead, your job is to try and improve the conversation first, bring a little life back into it, a little fun. And then if it turns around, then you move it forward. But you don't escalate from a weak position. It just doesn't work. So a way to move it back on track and to switch gears is ask about her. Most people love to talk about themselves as long as they're comfortable doing so. Even if it's a boring question like, hey, anything interesting happened to you this week? Anything crazy? Any exciting travel plans coming up? This is a point where you can ask a sort of boring question just because you're trying to get her into conversation, get her to open up. Then you can kind of flirt it a bit, make it a bit more bantery, all right? But it's designed to get her to answer and get going on that. Another issue with trying to establish rapport with texting, the more you text, the more you can say something controversial or put her off. And you have no idea what it is. A lot of people have views on this, that, the other thing. Politics, whatnot. It's super easy to trigger certain people, and why go there? So just don't even get into it. Now, in person, more can be forgiven because people can see your body language and they can see you're just joking around. It's a lot easier to recover, and they can't just like hang up and block you because they're right there in front of you. So that's something to watch for as well. Another big mistake is double texting, or even worse, triple texting. This is pretty basic, but it's really very, very, very easy to do and not realize you're doing it, especially a lot of back and forth. This is one of the fastest ways to come across as needy and overly invested. And remember, if a woman thinks you like her more than she likes you, the attraction will start dwindling. It just is that way. Because you're no challenge. There's nothing that interesting about you. She's got you without even doing anything. You send a message, she doesn't respond right away. Now, instead of letting it be, you send another one, then another. Now it looks like you're chasing her attention. It signals that you're more invested than she is. And again, that imbalance kills attraction. You have to let things breathe. Like a fine wine, you got to let it breathe. So send your message and give her space to respond. Now, there are some exceptions, of course. Let's say you're having a real quick back and forth logistics or banter, and it's in the immediate, she's answering right away. Then yeah, go ahead and send some, right off the bat, and don't worry about it. The other thing is you want to mix it up. If you're always taking forever to respond, it looks sort of like manipulative and contrived and fake. So you do want to mix it up from time to time. But as a rule, you do want to do it that way, not triple texting. Timing also matters. You want to text her when she can respond. So let's say it's in the middle of the night and you send her a text. Sure, she'll see it in the morning. But if she's a social girl, she might have many other texts from other people, friends, other, love interests who are trying to get her attention. And you might get buried in that, especially if it's early on. So, when you know she's around, it's better to text her then. Also, your tone should always be informal and relaxed. It should not be a dry, cold business email. It's not an interview. Do not ask boring, robotic questions. You want to keep it light, you want to keep it fun, and you want to keep it enjoyable. And that's the dating energy vibe that you want. It's keeping it light and fun and entertaining so she doesn't have to think too hard about it, okay? Also, you don't want to respond to every single text instantly the moment you get it. I'm kind of that way. If I get a text, I'll instantly reply to it. It's just kind of my nature. Why wait? Keep people waiting and just sort of engage. But unfortunately, it's just the way it is. When you do that, it makes you look too available. It's kind of counterintuitive. It looks like you got nothing going on. So it's kind of weird, but it just is that way. So as a result of that, you have to resolve that somehow. And the way you do that is you basically take some time to respond. You don't want to keep it uniform. You don't want to keep it the same. Like he always takes exactly 1 hour. But, maybe like 20 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, 2 hours sometimes, kind of mix it up. So it looks like you got something going on, because you should have something going on anyhow. Also, ultimately your job in texting is just to move things forward. Not forcefully, but intentionally. You don't want to sit in neutral forever. It's like you're trying to rev a car engine, but it's in neutral gear. It doesn't go no matter how far you push the gas. And shifting it in gear would just be asking her out for a date. You need to do that quickly. Women love and reward boldness because it shows that you're willing to risk rejection, and that's very, very masculine. Sometimes you will get rejected, but that's just part of the process. That's actually okay. It's not a bad thing at all. And it's better you know sooner rather than later. So literally you don't waste your time, because it will not get better from that point. So if you take anything from this, it's this. Keep it simple, keep it balanced, don't chase, and don't overinvest in texting itself. Focus on creating enough interest to move things into real interaction, because that's where everything actually matters. So you got any value for this? Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the